Hello, and welcome to another From Her View podcast. Ooh, look at that struggle set. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my struggle set that I have going on right now, but I'm going to get it right. I'm going to get it tight, and it'll be fine. But this is Audio Bangers Part 2, and very excited. If you watched our previous episode, if you have not, go ahead and check it out. In our previous episode, we were talking about the 12-week year. And so these are some of my book recommendations for audio bangers. That I'm an audiobook girl. I really do believe that we should be consuming information that is positive, productive, and conducive to us getting to the places that we say that we want to go. And one of the books that I'm going to share with you today is one of those books that I believe will be extremely helpful for you. One of the things that I feel is very important that a lot of people take for granted is a lot of the times we do not know who we are, we know who we wish we were. Let me say that again. A lot of us don't know who we are, we know who we wish we are. Okay? We portray ourselves in a way that we want people to see us to be, yet we are not very familiar with ourselves. And so in this podcast, my book recommendation for you guys for audiobook bangers, because you know she be an audiobook girl, but you can also get this book on paperback on Amazon. Um, it is going to be You Owe You by Dr. Eric, the hip hop preacher, Thomas, E.T. And I am an avid follower of ET, Secret to Success podcast, the whole movement. And if you guys want some good information about mindset and wealth, and for guys out there, what it's like to be a husband, for wives out there, what it's like to be a wife, because they do bring their wives on occasion, but also they really talk about, like, if your man is operating in his true manliness, what does that look like, and how they are like, you say, you bring up their wives, they be like, my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife. And I just love it, because my future husband needs to be like, my wife, my wife, my wife, my wife too. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about You Owe You. So You Owe You is a book kind of like a biography, but not necessarily that. It's kind of Eric going through bits and pieces of his life and talking about, finding that you owe you, that you are 1,000% control of where you are and where you ain't. Okay? You are 1,000% in control of where you are and where you ain't. Okay? And he goes over how a lot of the misconceptions and things that we um do, as far as like blaming others and placing the blame on them, um that we really need to take accountability for ourselves. So one of the main sources of contention for ET is that, as I don't want to say a young child, he wasn't a young child, but as a teenager, he discovered that the man he thought to be his father was not his actual biological father, and that he, in fact, did meet his biological father, but he was kind of introduced to him as like an uncle or like a family friend. And so he really held onto resentment for his biological father for not being there, for his mother for not telling him, and then resentment towards his stepfather, because for him, like, you're not my real daddy. So that's how he was feeling. And he was going on how, he was so upset, and he decided he was going to run away. So he goes over how he was a teenager, living in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, not bathing frequently. And he kind of goes through in a very nice flow to it about, okay, realizing that, okay, I want to be a better person for this person, so I have to level up, but also realizing that he was homeless by choice. Okay. In his scenario, he was homeless by choice because he didn't want to abide to the things in his household. He kind of just wanted to, be in control. And he was like, well, you're not my daddy, so you can't be in control of me. And then he just felt like, everyone lied to me. I don't want to be around you guys and everything like that. And so he talks about how, you know, he you can still feel some type of way that a parent didn't show up for you, or you didn't have that idealistic relationship that you thought that you should have. But he's like, you owe it to yourself. Okay. So he said, when I was sitting in abandoned buildings, I was like, man, I wish my dad would come and whisk me away. Why isn't my dad coming to save me? And he had a realization that, like, you owe you. I hate to keep reiterating the title, but it's literally like you owe it to yourself to go out there and get it. So, if you're not familiar with Eric Thomas, E.T., Secret to Success, if you're not familiar with CJ, with Jamal, with oh my god, I'm forgetting Carl. Everybody a part of, he's a motivational speaker. He's also a pastor. He has a PhD. And if you follow him, this book is kind of a culmination of a lot of life experiences, and how he's saying, okay, you're going to have to pick yourselves up by the bootstraps and deal with some of your trauma in order to get yourself to a place that you want to go. So, one of my favorite action steps from this book was actually a portion of the story where he was saying that he was getting very upset and kind of jealous because, his best friend, CT, who is his manager, business partner, was starting to get close to another one of their like mutual friends, because this Josh is a mutual friend of them. And he felt like, oh, they're having meetings but without me, they're doing this without me, like what's going up, is he trying to like replace me, is that friendship? So he's having these conversations in his head, and he's starting to talk himself into a place of feeling some type of way towards them and having an attitude about it. And then he finally has a conversation with CJ, and CJ is like, "Hey, we're trying to level you up. We're having conversations. These are business meetings. We're having conversations of how we can get you to be a household name and not having to do as many speaking engagements, right? So being more strategic in how we do business. We're just trying to level up the business, and now we want to present it to you. Now we want to include you in on the scenario." One of the things that I am working on, Lord help me, I'm working on it, is I'm an emotional person. I feel like one of those people that like, hi, my name is Sade and I'm an alcoholic, but really I'm not an alcoholic, so don't bite that up and be out here trying to be like, she drinks, because if you know me for real, you know that I don't. But being emotional. And so I used to get so upset when people were like, you're so emotional, because my thing is like angry. I begin like like but anger is an emotion. And so one of the things he was like, you have to use logic in scenarios in order to level yourself up. And I am good with this in certain situations, but when my feelings are involved, it's kind of hard. So for me, business is business. Like business is black and white. I can make certain like, okay girl, okay, if the spirit so lead me, I can do that. But for the most part, business is what business is. And if you are a person of integrity, where you treat people like people and you're kind and everything like that, like that's the bee's knees. So it's not necessarily like I'm like, oh, to everybody, but for the most part, business is what business is. Business is chess, it's not checkers. So, sometimes people do get, moved off the block, and it is what it is. But if I have a relationship with you, and that's where he's coming from, is there him and CJ's relationship aspect as being best friends. And that is a sore point for me. And so you might be asking, like, Shade, girl, why is we talking about this? Well, we're talking about this because you might not necessarily have that problem, but you could also have this problem with things in a completely different scenario. So like let's say, hey, I really want to lose weight. But I can't lose weight because my man is always trying to feed me. He always going out to pick me up food wherever I want, wherever I want to go. He always taking me here, he always taking me there. Well, you owe you, baby. Okay? You're gonna have to start being like, hey babe, can we make a choice to do this and to do that? Because I really want to focus on being healthy. Like I really want to focus on being around for more years so we can have more years together. That's a different conversation. So it's really about the mindset aspect. One of the things, if you do follow up ET, and I hasten you go into their website. Do I know the website off the top of my head? Baby, I do not, but Google Alicia does. And Google that baby, okay, use it. And you can find their website where they have the flight assessment. And so I have taken this flight assessment. And so the flight assessment is a way where he kind of rationalizes the different ways that people move. The flight assessment is also like the DISC assessment. And I do believe that people should take things like DISC, DISC assessment, DISC, and you should also take Myers-Briggs assessments and things of that nature, even Enneagram. You should take these tests to kind of understand yourself. One of the things that I like about the DISC assessment is it shows you your superpower, but it also shows you your super weaknesses. And when it's showing you your super weaknesses, it's actually kind of shining a light on the things that you need to work on. So in the flight assessment, and I wish I had it pulled up, child. Oh my God. I wish I had it pulled up, but I don't. And it's fine. But I'll just name off a couple of things. So, you have, oh yeah, the flight, the for the flight, the DISC assessment, you have the flight attendant, you have the pilot, you have the grounds crew, and the fourth one, I unfortunately can't remember, but I am a pilot. That means that I am a leader, straight to the point, to the point, to the point, to the point. But I also have flight attendant capabilities because I am personable. But for the most part, we doing this, 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 and this. Like, it actually drives my children absolutely bonkers because I'll ask them questions or whatnot. And my son, especially, he thinks that my questions are like trick questions. And I just be like, no, I'm just asking a question. Maybe I ask my questions in a weird way, but I'm just asking a question. So sometimes that happens, but it's really, really helpful for you to understand yourself. So he and his wife, Dee Dee, who we love, Dee Dee, because ET is a predominant flight attendant, where Dee Dee is a pilot. And so he talks about, like, how that has helped their relationships, how the DISC assessment has also helped the relationship, or the flight assessment has also helped the relationship between him and his children, because now he understands the thought process and the natural instincts of his children. So with understanding that, he knows, okay, if I need to deliver a message, this is how I'm going to deliver a message to this person. And you think that those things are important, that people should just take you for who you are at face value. And sometimes you do. But I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and we were discussing that we prefer for a person to be who they are. Like, I don't want your representative. What does that mean? That means, you know, if I know you're a liar, I'm okay with knowing that you're a liar. Okay. So if I know a person is a liar, I'm never going to go into the conversations believing everything you say for face value. Now, I cannot go around completely discrediting you, because that is also not okay, right? But if I know that someone's a liar, oh, I know how to handle you. If I know that someone's a thief, I know how to handle you. If I know someone who's also a gossip, I know how to handle you. If I know someone that is, you know, painstakingly annoying, I know how to handle you. And that's how it is. You understand that not everybody is a monolith. We are not robots. Thank Jesus, praise the Lord. This is not AI, artificial intelligence. Like, we're all individual people, and we have all these different nuances about ourselves. And it's very important that we understand ourselves more importantly. So, in my journey with this, how do I implement this into my daily life? I actually take a step back with situations and evaluate more. So there was a situation where something happened, and I was just like, why is this aggravating me so bad? Like, why is this like from the pits of my soul, like something is bubbling up out of me? And typically, like, I don't care. If someone cancels plans on me, I promise to God, like, it don't bother me. It does not bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. I will find something else to do, baby. But when this person in particular did it, this particular person, it just really, 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 really struck a nerve with me. And I, for the life of me, was just like, Jesus, what is this? Like, why is this so upsetting to me? Like, I don't care for real, but like, why do I care? And it came from the fact that I have a strong emotion for this person. Okay. And you can have a strong emotion of love. So you have variations of love with everybody that you love, right? The love that I have for my child is not the same love that I have for my mother. The love that I have for my mother is not the same love that I have for my father. The love that I have for my father is not the same love that I have for my sister. And this is, so on, so forth, right? So this particular situation reminded me of when I was a kid. And my dad would be like, hey, I'm coming over to see you guys, to spend time with you, wherever, whatever, right? And we would get ready, and he would not come. And so you would kind of like be up, like, oh, my dad's coming to get me. And you'd be ready, and you like, oh man, I fell asleep. I missed him. He probably came when I fell asleep. And yeah, so it's a childhood trauma thing. And I realized that, hey, I'm going to have to give this person grace, and they're going to have to give me grace, because I'm working through something that I didn't realize was an issue until this situation arose. And now I know it is an issue. And so, with that being said, you know, You is a great book. It is full of gems. This is just one particular gem that stuck away from me and how I implement it in my life. I took the assessment. I know how I am, how I naturally adapt to certain situations. And because of that, I am now aware on when to tap into my superpower. But I'm also even more aware on other people's superpowers and how I can use them as an asset, and then how they can use me as an asset for better cohesion, better operation in systems. This book is helpful not only in business, but in life, because we have to be able to communicate and communicate effectively. And when you get punched in the face, right? Because Mike Tyson say everybody got a plan till they get punched in the face. Well, if you get punched in the face, you also have to know, okay, how do I react in this situation? Because I owe it to myself. I'm on a journey of, okay, I'm really into my, my soft girl life, because that's the little phrase that we're coining it. But I'm into that. I'm into bettering my health, getting better in that aspect. But not only that, bettering my systems and my processes and being more effective in those areas. So being more effective and strategic when it even comes to being a parent, really trying to like hone into those times of, okay, this is your time, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and this and that. Like before, I used to have to schedule it out like a T, which I still can, which I still do, which I still get the notifications on my phone. But now it's a conscious, like, okay, I'm aware of this. I'm always constantly gauging, does my child feel like they haven't seen me enough or spent enough time with me? And then I ask them, there's no shame in that, because we as individuals are so many things to so many people, but at the end of the day, we're the most important person to the most important person to us. And with that said, I hope you enjoy UOU by Dr. Eric E.T., the hip hop preacher Thomas. And you can find that book on Amazon. You can follow him on Instagram as Secret to Success, or S2S podcast on IG, and give it a listen. It's actually really good. You'll know him from the If You Want to Succeed, Bad as You Want to Breathe. That's him. And it's a great book. It's a great book. And I really hope that it inspires you to take a look at how you react into certain situations. For me, for one thing, I am a bridge burner child. I will burn a bridge and not think twice about it. But we also have to understand, where does that come from? Why do we do that? And if that is a thing that we do, we have to gauge the situations properly when we initiate those things. Because if we're operating out of emotion when we do these things, we're going to make permanent damage for temporary feelings. And that's not a good thing. So, this has been From Her View with me, Sade Camille. Like, subscribe, share. Follow me at IG at Sade.Camille717. And let's keep this conversation going. I mean, do you guys have some books that you want to recommend that you think that I should, listen to? I'm up for it. I'm up for it. But until then, toodles.